Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. During the Patriots game, when I watched the Pittsburgh Steelers, I had the truth hit me like a ton of bricks. And I came to the conclusion that things are never going to change with Mike Tomlin as the head coach. And you'll say, you want to be so negative during a victory. That was one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my entire life. The New England Patriots have an inferior roster compared to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers barely won the game with a total of 5 turnovers and 5 sacks and still barely won the football game. Still couldn't stop the run. Still had a delusional Mike Tomlin after the game, gloating in a victory. And it just hit me. Things are never going to change with Mike Tomlin as the head coach. I don't care what happens at the end of the year. It's time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go in a new direction. Getting into my video for today, ask yourself, what does Coach Tomlin define as successful? So, look, what does he define as successful? Mike Tomlin vouches for Brian Flores. He did a successful job as Dolphins head coach. First, let's talk about this. This is the same idiot and moron that's suing the NFL of all places for racism. Oh, yeah, Coach Flores, they didn't know that you were a man of color or black. He has a Hispanic last name, looks black, so I don't want to be insulting, but he's a man of color. And they hired him anyway to be the head coach. But somehow, some way, it didn't go your way. And now the Dolphins are racist, and so is the NFL. And Mike Tomlin, he'll just throw the successful part right onto I thought he was successful as a coach of the Miami Dolphins. Just based off that nonsense alone, I'd call him a failure. Because there's one place out of all places in the entire United States of America in the workplace that's definitely not racist, that absolutely loves black men, confident black men that can perform, and that's the NFL. Mike Tomlin had to say, I thought he did a successful job of it his first time around, to be quite honest with you. Tomlin said of Flores via the team's YouTube channel, his willingness to learn is really attractive component of Coach Flores. Another Tomlinism, another word salad. His willingness to learn is a attractive component of him. Whatever. After a successful stint as New England Patriots assistant coach, the Miami Dolphins hired Flores as their head coach in 2019. And 3 years with the team, he compiled a 24-25 record. 3 years, 24-25 record. But that includes a tough 5-11 first season. In 2020, the team went 10-6 and narrowly missed out on the playoffs. Well, almost don't count. And went 9-8 in 2021, salvaging a 1-7 start. Flores' dismissal came as a surprise. He was the first Dolphins coach to put together back-to-back winning seasons since 2002 and 2003. And the team's strong finish showed the locker room hadn't quit on him. Again, all feel-good stories. The team was absolutely atrocious. As bad as it gets. They started the season 1-7. Oh, well, the locker room didn't quit on him. So the team went 5-11, 10-6, 9-8, and 1-7 to start. And that was successful to Coach Tomlin. Do you really think that Coach Tomlin at this point deserves to coach the Pittsburgh Steelers of all organizations? The organization that has set the standard for winning and what defines being successful. And this just gives you a glimpse into Mike Tomlin's mind, what he considers successful as a coach. And maybe that's why we're having the problems that we do. Maybe that's why we are where we are right now as the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, the players, the fan base, because we all know this season is going to end very, very badly. There's no doubt in my mind this season is not going to end well. Flores filed lawsuits against the Dolphins, multiple other teams, and the NFL. Wow. He's on a roll. What a success, Mike. What a success. He alleged Miami owner Stephen Ross attempted to bribe Flores by losing more games in order to gain a higher draft pick. Maybe he was. If I had to bet my life, I bet you the owner was joking around. Like, oh, this, I guarantee it was joking. He also claimed ownership wanted him to tamper and try to sign Tom Brady, a move Flores said he refused to comply with. That refusal led to his firing, he alleged. Other reports countered by noting Flores's icy relationship with quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. The Miami Dolphins locker room talks about it all the time, the way Brian Flores treated Tua, the franchise quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. The whole entire locker room was in complete shock. His lawsuit led him to be frozen out by NFL teams who did not want to hire a coach, filing multiple lawsuits around the league and against the NFL itself. Could you blame them? Could you blame them? He's saying that the NFL is racist. They hired him to be the head coach. What, they didn't realize what color the man was? As Tomlin once revealed during an episode on the Pivot podcast, he did not initially plan to hire Flores, but realizing the rest of the league refused to, Tomlin added Flores as an assistant linebackers coach. We had some awesome discussions during our time together, Tomlin said during his press conference. He certainly has options, schematic options, strategic options, personnel options, but his openness to different thoughts or viewpoints, I think, is a weapon for him as a coach. Well, I hope all of this schematic, strategic, and personal opinions are a lot better than yours, Tomlin. So let me get this straight. Art Rooney is hiring Mike Tomlin to bring the best of the best coaches and players to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And because Coach Tomlin didn't like that Brian Flores refuses to accept responsibility for being a shitty coach and suing the NFL for racism when he couldn't get hired because of his own actions, leave it to Mike Tomlin to rescue him because we're not running a football organization now. We're not running a championship team. We're running feel good stories. We're running rescue missions for idiots who took the opportunity of a lifetime and decided to turn it into a discrimination lawsuit. All because he was a failure, which he clearly was. So let me ask you again, what is the definition of success to Coach Tomlin? Because for the last 10 or 15 years, it's been mediocrity and losing. Maybe that's maybe that's the definition. That is definitely the definition to success. Mediocrity is the definition of success to Mike Tomlin. And it's obvious. You know, Art Rooney should have got Mike Tomlin on the phone and said, listen, we need the best coaches available. We don't care what color they are. We don't care where they're from. We need the best coaches here. So far, have you seen a great coaching staff from Mike Tomlin? Matter of fact, he's gotten rid of all the great coaches. Got Dick LeBeau, bye. Offensive line coach, bye. Defensive back coach, bye. I'm going to bring in all my people who I think are going to do a great job. And since Coach Tomlin has done that, since he's brought in his entire coaching staff, the Pittsburgh Steelers have absolutely sucked on the field. They don't execute. Cam Hayward said it yesterday. The defense doesn't pay attention to their assignments. They don't do their assignments. You know why? Because they don't respect Coach Tomlin. They probably think he's an idiot. And then they say to themselves, well, even if we don't do it, he's not going to do anything anyway. So who gives a shit? We're going to do whatever we want. Man, this article really pissed me off today with Flores. And I know a guy that was on the Miami Dolphins during this time period. And he told me that every single meeting started with some come up story by Coach Flores. Like, I grew up in a one bedroom apartment with 8 or 9 brothers and sisters. And, you know, it was always some like come up story, how hard he had it and coming up in the ghetto. And like, it was always some story before a meeting. Always. You're not there, dude. You're not there for that. You're not there to be a motivational speaker. If you want to be a motivational speaker, go create a YouTube channel. Don't coach football. Flores was 24-25 in 3 seasons, and Mike Tomlin calls that a success. And I don't think he's just saying it. I don't think he's just saying it to protect a friend. I think he really truly believes that. And then you wonder why the Pittsburgh Steelers are exactly where they are right now. And you know who's allowing this? You know who's allowing this circus to continue? Is Art Rooney. It's like he'll let Tomlin drive the team into the abyss before he says, enough is enough. I had it. And I had it. And I mean this. I've been a somewhat of a Tomlin defender. But after I watched that Patriots game, I was just like, I had to sit there for a couple minutes after I made a video after the game. And I sat there and I said, man, nothing will ever change with Mike Tomlin as the head coach. And here's another thing. If Coach Tomlin couldn't win with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben, a Troy Polamalu led defense that was still kind of in its prime, what makes you think he's going to win the Super Bowl with inferior? I don't even know if it's inferior talent at this point. As long as he's the coach, that's the problem. So I don't even want to put that on the players. I'm not even going to say, that's my mistake. I'm not even going to put this on the players. This is all going on Coach Tomlin and the coaching staff. Because what I've seen so far this season, they have been absolutely horrendous. And the Pittsburgh Steelers should have lost to the Patriots last week. All the insiders, I got to say, let me try to find something good because I want to seem different. And I don't want to seem angry like all the other YouTubers. So let me try to be unique by saying something stupid because that's what it is. Some guys in my comment section, oh, look at you copying other people's talking points. Go F yourself. I don't copy anybody, dude. I have my own opinions. I have my own thoughts. And if you don't like it, F off. F off my page. I don't need to copy anybody. The only thing I copy is stats because the stats are the stats. As far as personal opinions, they're my opinions. I don't need to follow anybody. Coach Tomlin is horrible. He's a bad coach. And we're seeing it game after game, year after year. And we all know it's going to end badly. And I expect this week we're going to get slaughtered in Ireland. And then the schedule starts to get tougher as the season goes on. And we're going to see how bad the Pittsburgh Steelers actually are. Because so far, this is the easiest part of the schedule. And the Steelers have looked absolutely horrible. And as far as personnel decisions, Jabril Peppers, Cole Holcomb, Y.A. Black. Y.A. Black needs to be the nose tackle. Cole Holcomb looks like to me he needs to be the starting linebacker next to Patrick Queen. Jabril Peppers needs to be the starting safety, whether it's the free, the strong. I don't care as long as him and Deshaun Elliott are out there together. He's the better player. I don't think it's even close. Because at this point, your number one priority is to stop the run. And I would rather have the players on the field that could stop the run. If we get gashed in the passing game from time to time because those defenders are not as suitable in the passing game, so be it. I am tired of seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers get the ball ran down their throats. I don't want to hear the other day, well, it was the Patriots quarterback's the one that ran for 50 yards. That's why the New England Patriots accumulated 116 yards rushing. The bottom line is the other team went over 100 yards rushing again for like the 6th week in a row. It's ridiculous already. Well, the Steelers released the depth chart going into this week's game first, the Minnesota Vikings, and nothing has changed. Whew, go figure. I mean, Derek Harmon is in the starting lineup, but free safety is Juan Thornhill. Strong safety is Deshaun Elliott. As Jabril Peppers heads to the bench, I think that's a mistake. I think Jabril Peppers is an outstanding player, and I think that's a mistake. Obviously, I don't think he should start over Deshaun Elliott. And you're going to say, well, the strong safety is different than the free safety. I think he could do both. I really do. I think he could do both, and I think he's a superior player than Juan Thornhill. That's my opinion. Peyton Wilson's still in. Cole Holcomb is still his backup. Well, if they start struggling, if these players start to struggle in the game, are we going to see changes fast, or are we going to wait till the 3rd or 4th quarter when the Steelers are really playing from behind, have no chance to win the football game? Because that's the question. And of course, Y.A. Black is not starting. Defensive tackle Cam Hayward, nose tackle Keanu Benton. There was an article that came out or yesterday or 2 days ago that the organization has admitted that Keanu Benton is regressing and he's probably not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler next year. And what does Coach Tomlin do? Oh, we're just going to play him the entire year and leave YA Black on the bench. We'll let YA Black spell him here or there, but we're not going to let him get his feet wet so he can really get entrenched in learning the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Now, we'll take care of that a couple weeks from now. We'll wait till year 2 or year 3 and week 14. Nothing changes. Pat Fryermuth, I hope he has a big game this week because Pat Fryermuth has not played good football in a very long time and he's making a lot of money. Well, there you have it. Mike Tomlin's definition of a successful coach is Brian Flores, a guy who went 24 and 25 in 3 years and who is now suing every single NFL team in the entire National Football League for racism. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.